Bimbo Manuel, of course, began his television career in 1985 as a broadcaster at Ogun State Broadcasting Corporation. Now he later moved to Ogun State Television before commencing his acting career in 1986. Mr. Manuel is a veteran filmmaker with several movies to his credit, including Charge on Bail, Blood Sisters, Blood Vessel, Breath of Life, House of Ga, amongst others. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's good having you in the studio.
Yes.
So awesome. I have tried my best.
Yes.
I have
She
tried.
did.
Yes.
Okay. So, looking at the film industry, so far, so good. How has it been? You've been there, you've done it, everything. I saw your portfolio, it's quite huge. A lot of films to your kitty. How has it been so far, the transition and all of that?
It's been work. It's been good. The work has been good, and we're thankful. Yes.
So why did you move from broadcasting to acting?
Okay. Broadcast actually started about 1979.
Okay.
Not 86.
Okay.
Google would probably have that wrong. Yeah. Then I hadn't gone to any school at all. Yes. It was just secondary school, and I knew that I needed to get some kind of education that would help me, whatever career option I made at that time, whether to continue in broadcast or to go do something else, because I was a science student and I wanted to be a biochemist, Yeah, so I knew that I just had to go to school. So it was not straight from broadcast to acting. There was school in between, and that was inspired by a gentleman in OGTV back then. One Ghanaian, fantastic gentleman, he was a transmission director. And it was my very first time. I just left radio. I went to TV, OGTV. It was my first time of seeing a transmission studio. I was blown. And there was this gentleman punching all kinds of buttons, lights everywhere, and I said, I must be a director. And that was how it started,
Wow.
Yeah.
What got you interested in acting? I mean, I think broadcasting is a very noble profession.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it is not as if I have made such a departure from broadcast. It is just that I'm busier now as an actor than a broadcaster. I still do voiceovers, I still host shows and all that. But, I actually didn't train as an actor.
Okay.
Yes, in the strictest sense of it. I went to the University of Port Harcourt to be a director. And that was what I trained for. However, to be a director, in my school then, you had to go to all of the other departments. You had to go to music, you had to go to acting, you had to go to technical and all of that, because the person in charge was convinced that to be a good director, you had to know all of those departments and how they worked. Yeah. So we left school, and there were not as many directing jobs as would have been enough for every one of us at that time. And since one had some idea of what acting could be or should be, I got into acting, and somehow it's become what I've known for more than being a director, yes.
Well, you've been acting since the 80s.
Yes.
I want to know, what was acting like? What was the film industry like in the 80s, in the 90s? Just give us a
black
sense
and white
of...
still.
Yeah.
We already had color in the 80s.
Yes, we also had color, yeah.
Maybe not as brilliant as the ones we have
now.
Yes, but we already had colors. But They say the main employer of acting labor then was NTA. It was just NTA. All those, forgotten what they call them now, on Channel 10. And then the telemovies, yes, you know, and
The Masquerade.
those skits, yes. Who were taking 20 naira per episode.
Whoa. 20 naira. 20 naira was big money of sorts at the time, right?
Yeah, well, big money, even that would be relative. It was not, and then you didn't get it when you finished work.
Oh.
You had to fill a pink form that you carry around for months before they would call you if you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, yeah, to come and collect. So you could have a pile as big as that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Imagine moving along with that thing every time you have
Yes,
to go
you
out.
know, so you'd sort through them quickly, which one you want them to pay. Yes. I think the highest I ever got in NTA was by Tadeo Gidon. I think he paid me 250 naira.
Wow.
Wow, that was big. That was definitely a lot of money at the time.
Oh, please.
Because people are 20 naira.
But I mean, we're grateful for that. We're grateful. Well, you know, the kind of dedication that people gave to the job that time, in spite of the small money we were taking for work, it was incredible. It was incredible. Some excellent and brilliant players, you know. Sadly, many of them have either gone on to other things or passed on, you know, or not too well enough to continue, you know. Otherwise, it was an incredible gathering, collective of players back then.
Now, you talk about the fact that trainings, do we have that now with this younger crop of actors?
You see, I do not think we should judge anybody in terms of what kind of training they get. Because many of them are obviously educated.
True.
And I think that is where it starts. If the education they got, in whatever discipline, if it was a quality one, education in my books should or would teach you discipline. So it's not just head knowledge, 1 + 1 is 2, and therefore 4 + 4 is 8. No, it should teach you some discipline, and you should be ready to imbibe those disciplines. So if you already have, if we're assuming that you have a background of discipline, isn't it rather funny that it's also called discipline? Yes, you know, yeah. So you could be a biochemist, you could be a computer engineer, and we have many of them. You could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor. We also have many of them in the business now. Discipline. If you have discipline at the heart of whatever you learned in school, it shouldn't be too difficult for you to function effectively and professionally in the acting business. And I'm talking about discipline because if you ask me, discipline is maybe like 60% of an actor's work. You are arriving on time, they give you call time, you arrive on time, you recognize that too many people are waiting for you, there is a cost to every minute that you're late, you know the process. You get to work, you know you should go to makeup, you know you should go to wardrobe after that, you know you should go to a waiting area after that, you know you should carry your sides, the script they give you for the day, and work ahead of whatever call to come on set. All that, they're all discipline, you know. And if you do all of that, you're ready. You're ready to go. Whenever they say, it's your call, set time, you're ready to go. and you're likely to put up your best.
Well, you've mentioned dedication and discipline. I want to know, what do you think old Nollywood had that new Nollywood doesn't have, and that you wish that would be imbibed in the new crop of actors of today?
You already mentioned two of them: dedication, discipline. We probably also do not have now the kind of, I think it's rather tepid to say togetherness. There's a stronger word that I can't find now, but people bunched.
Unity.
And they bonded, you know. People looked out for one another. People cared, you know. Somebody was asking me just yesterday about some of our colleagues that had fallen on hard times, some that had fallen ill, and they had to resort to social media to raise money for them and all that, you know. In those times, even if we had social media, I do not think the matters of sick actors and actors in need and so on would have gone public like that. People would have risen up, you know. Even businesses like NTA, PZ, and so on, they were very popular with actors back then. They would probably have stepped in to do something for that actor without it getting into the public, yes.
And so in all of this, where do you see the industry going? You've grown over time. You've acted in epic movies that are recently House of God.
Yes.
Where do you see the industry going forward?
I think the industry speaks for itself, the direction it's traveling, you know. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, we were not producing some kind of some movies that have become regular fare for us now, you know. Ask anybody like 10 years ago about a House of God, about an Anikolakbo, about a blood vessel, and they probably wouldn't even be able to visualize it. But look at us now, you know. It can only be better. It can only be better.
It can only be better. But what do you think the film industry needs to improve on? That you will be like, this thing, we have to improve on it as soon as possible if we want to become as big as Hollywood.
Relationships were first. That would be my first call. Relationships. The way relationships are governed, the contracts, you know. For now, for instance, most actors they sign contracts that take away all their rights. Yeah. The gentleman you were talking to just before this was inferring something like that, you know. It takes away all the rights. And you see, usually you're compelled to sign because those contracts are standard. It says those rights, whatever rights that are due to you, now or imagined or later invented, are taken away from you once they pay you that money that you agreed to, you know. It cannot be right. It should not be right, you know, for anyone, because globally people get royalty, people get residual payments, you know, for their work in recognition of their contribution to any project, you know. We need to look at that. We need to look at the relationships with both sides, the producers, the creatives, also on both sides understanding that developing a relationship that benefits both parties beyond just money is excellent for the industry. I think we need to look at that. We also need to look at developing ourselves, you know, beyond just stepping in front of a camera and delivering lines and giving facial expressions and all that. You know, the complete actor, we should begin to produce more of them now, who can ride horses, who can ride motorbikes, who can swim, who can drive well, who can, some may even be able to do their own stunts, you know, yeah. More rounded performers, you know, yeah. We need to look at that. We need to also have more daring directors. More daring directors, directors who challenge you to cross those boundaries that you've imagined to be your own limit, you know. We need them. We need producers who are willing to take projects that would probably scare anybody now. But what will government say? Yeah. Will people believe it? You know. But that's actually the stuff of movies, you know.
Well, listening to you, I think maybe you should consider another career in lecturing. Such speech and all that. Thank you so much, Uncle Bimbo, for coming.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.